There we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Gretchen, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Tuesday night meditation. Tonight, you join me from my home in Saskatchewan, Canada. Tuesday night meditation is a sacred time and space devoted to our shared practice of entering stillness together and of giving together. Let us first surround and protect ourselves with the love and the grace of God. Before we begin the meditation, I'd like to share a passage from the New Message about practice. It's not exactly about practice, but it's quite related. This is a chapter from Greater Community Spirituality, chapter 23, and it's called How is Knowledge Translated in the Greater Community? And I'm going to start with the kind of the middle of the chapter here. Language always has its limitations. The greater community way of knowledge is being given in the English tongue because the English language will over time become the international language of your world. It will not be the only language, but it will be the international language. And that is why this teaching is being given in this tongue. In time, it will be translated into other languages by its advanced students. The translation process continues. It is a translation process to bring the greater community way of knowledge into your world, and it's a translation process to introduce it around your world into different cultures. The essential emphasis here is that the way of knowledge can be learned and applied by those who need it in whatever culture it is introduced. Regardless of the language difficulties involved, knowledge is inherent in each person. There is nothing in the world that can prepare you for the greater community. You must have a preparation from beyond the world because you do not know what you're preparing for. You do not know how to prepare, and you do not understand the difficulties, challenges, and opportunities that lay ahead. It is for this reason that the Creator has given you a new understanding and a new challenge in learning. To give the human race the possibility to meet its current needs and to prepare for its remarkable future in the greater community, a greater community way of knowledge is being given because it is needed and essential now. At first, the greater community way of knowledge will be learned by a few individuals here and there. It will not be learned by everyone because everyone is not ready to learn it. But for those individuals who are ready and who can courageously follow its steps, the greater community way of knowledge will enable them to gain a greater understanding, perspective, and ability in life. This then can be translated to other people through their contribution, communications, efforts, relationships, and so forth. Thus, the translation process continues through many different levels of interaction. It is translated into the world, and it is translated within the world. And through those who can study and learn it patiently and effectively, the translation of knowledge will continue because their efforts, their actions, and their demonstrations in life will provide inspiration, insight, and encouragement for those with whom they come in contact. The impact of their activities will be lasting and resonating. This is the evidence of knowledge. One act or one event can resonate through many minds who were not present at the original act or event. You have seen this in the development and continuance of the world's religions, and you will see it in the development and continuance of the greater community way of knowledge, if it can be successfully learned and initiated here. The initiation process is entirely natural, but it can be obstructed, it can be thwarted. That is why at this time, as the first generation of human beings attempt to learn a greater community way of knowledge and to understand greater community spirituality, the possibility for failure is great. Therefore, your adherence, your study, your intention to learn, your patience, your compassion, and your ability are very crucial to the possibility of a greater community way of knowledge and theology being introduced and learned here. Perhaps you who are reading these words will be one of the pioneers in this. It is through your studenthood that greater things can be created for the future, for you are working for the future now. This represents a greater understanding and a greater reality regarding your life and your presence in the world. Knowledge translates itself through many levels of interaction, and thus it carries its impact from person to person, from heart to heart, and from mind to mind, beyond traditions, beyond cultural distinctions, and beyond all kinds of differentiation. Knowledge traverses the great gulfs that seem to separate people, cultures, and nations in the world. Because knowledge is inherent in each person can respond to knowledge as he or she learns to perceive it and to experience it. This is the effect of inspiration. It bridges all gaps and traverses all boundaries, reaching minds here and there and everywhere. This is the power of knowledge. This is the power of the Creator. It is not a power that you can see and touch. It is not a power that you can harness and use. It's not a power that you can display and use to dominate others. It is not a power that your world recognizes or understands. It is a pervasive power because it works at an entirely different level of life, a level of life of which you are a part, but of which you are yet barely aware. This translation process will assure continuance for the human race. It will assure continuance for the possibility of humanity learning from its mistakes and capitalizing upon its strength and greater abilities. This is required because of the evolution of the world and because of the problems of the world. Therefore, as a few individuals are able to learn a greater community way of knowledge, the effect of their learning and their resulting contribution will help to elevate the minds of others. This will continue to resonate through groups, cultures, tribes, and nations, and through families, marriages, friendships, and all other kinds of relationships. The translational knowledge must first be initiated. If no one in the world can learn a greater community way of knowledge, then it cannot be translated within the world in which you live. However, if a few can learn to follow knowledge, abide with knowledge, and recognize knowledge as the greater power that is with them and in them, then greater works can be done, greater examples can be made, and greater demonstrations can be established. This will produce a resonating effect that will enable knowledge to be translated from person to person in ways that are mysterious and pervasive and in ways that are lasting and meaningful. This gives great responsibility to those who are the first generations to learn a greater community way of knowledge. They are the pioneers, for they will establish greater parameters of understanding and the possibility for the development of greater abilities. It is incumbent upon them then to take their studenthood very seriously and to have the understanding that their purpose will elevate them above the mundane problems which circumscribe everyone around them. This will give them a greater power and a greater responsibility to contribute and to serve others. It is always difficult for the first pioneers to establish new ground in any field of endeavor, whether they are pioneering new places or a new understanding. They face resistance from the world around them, they face misunderstanding, they face resentment and indifference, they even face hostility. However, they will forge the future for your race. They set a new direction and they keep the race moving forward. The world's emergence into the greater community will be occurring over the next 1.5 centuries. Therefore, what you are doing now in learning a greater community way of knowledge is establishing the foundation and preparation for the future. This will give meaning to the present, and you will give you an understanding of why things are happening in the world and the direction they must go. This growing wisdom inside you, born of your honest studenthood, will give you the ability to consult others, to assist others, and to work in the arenas where you can have the greatest benefit and the greatest effect. This will give you the satisfaction of experiencing and expressing a greater purpose in life, a satisfaction that is unparalleled by any pleasure or any advantage that the world can bestow upon you. Here you will become a translator. As you translate a greater understanding into the normal activities of life, and as you translate your greater relationship with the unseen ones and with your creator into your relationships with other people. The will of the creator is translated through many different levels of interaction. This represents the greater plan of the creator, of which you are an intrinsic and necessary part. You are not only a recipient of the greater plan, you are part of its transmission. If you can become a student of its presence, its will, its purpose, and its method, this is the greater opportunity that you have in life. This is the greater reward and fulfillment that is awaiting you. It is born of your ancient home, and it is needed now in the world in which you live. And I will stop there. Please join me now in a 30-minute stillness practice. Take whatever time you need to read your own step and enter into stillness when you're ready. Nasi Novare Karam. While we're in this place of stillness, I'd like to share a passage from the New Message speaking about the messenger. This is called The Burden of the Messenger, received by Marshall on April 5th, 2011, in Boulder, Colorado. Trying to find my place here. Here it is. The messenger is providing an entirely new paradigm of understanding, a greater community awareness, a new realization about God and the nature of the divine presence, will, and influence in the world. This is not a God of one people or one world. This is a God of all the universes. This is not a fatherly God figure who is preoccupied with human affairs and all the particulars of each individual's life. This is a God who has set in motion the forces of evolution, geological and biological change at the beginning of time. This is a God who will not sit in judgment and cast people into the fires of hell, but God has given each person the power of knowledge. They may eventually respond to this, but this is the part of them that has never left God, the part of them that has never been separated. It is the plan of redemption that very few people in the world today really understand. The messenger will have to speak of these things, some of which are so far beyond conventional thinking and understanding, things that must be responded to at a deeper level of recognition, a deeper level of honesty. He is not merely presenting theories or perspective or ideas to be considered and debated. He is delivering the revelation. It has taken him decades to receive it. It is so great. Part of it will be confounding to people. It is so far beyond their current concerns and understanding. And yet, the essence of this is intrinsic and natural to each person, for it speaks to the deeper intelligence within each person, an intelligence born of their relationship with the divine. This is beyond philosophical debates and theological arguments. This is beyond national perspective or religious pride. This is beyond everything that distinguishes people from each other and sets them in contrast and in conflict with one another here in the world. The messenger will present spirituality as it has been practiced by advanced races in the universe. This is not born of his understanding, but of the revelation itself. The messenger will speak of the intervention that is occurring in the world today by small groups of foreign explorers and opportunists who are here to take advantage of human weakness and human exploitation. The messenger will speak of the affairs of the greater community, not because he has been there himself and traveled around and visited countless places, but because this is the revelation. The messenger will speak of relationships of higher purpose. This he has experienced and demonstrated in his life. What he will say will be part of the revelation, for the revelation speaks on many things. This is the burden of the messenger. This is within him. This has been revealed to him. The process of revelation is not understood in the world. People think the messengers are gods, or they discount them altogether as being merely teachers, offering different perspectives. People want to come to God on their terms, but God sets the terms of engagement. God establishes the terms of the approach. You do not know your way to God, but God knows the way to you. You cannot determine under what circumstances you will accept and believe and receive revelation, but this is merely being blind and arrogant. Know not what the revelation will reveal. It is not here to make you rich, lazy, and happy. It is here to call you into greater service and to prepare you for a more difficult and challenging world, a world that will now involve factors and influences never seen before in the world, influences from the universe around you. Everyone was sent into the world to be in the world at this time, to face these great and emerging circumstances. So to claim it is too much for you is simply to admit your weakness and to not recognize your responsibility to prepare. Everyone is weak to begin with, of course. You do not become strong because you simply want to. You become strong responding to the requirements and the circumstances of life. This is the meaning of the revelation. This is the power of the revelation. Time is clicking and marching on. Humanity does not have a great deal of time to adapt to a new world and to prepare for the greater community. This is part of the burden of the messenger. Humanity does not have decades and centuries to consider the meaning and the value of the revelation, for humanity's fate and future is at a great turning point. The decisions made today will determine the outcome of so many things. Human neglect, human irresponsibility, human denial, all these things will guarantee a far more difficult future for you, for your children, and for the future generations. Human freedom and sovereignty in this world are being challenged. You cannot assume that you will have them into the future without a great preparation and determined action. Freedom is rare in the universe. Nations that are free must prepare themselves and must exercise great discretion and discernment. These are all things for humanity to learn and to appreciate and to prioritize. This is the burden of the messenger. He will be limited by the limitations of people's response. He will be held back by the ignorance of others. He will have to contend with projections of blame and condemnation. He will have to tread his course very carefully with great care. Everything he says can be remembered. Everything he does is a demonstration. Those who are sent to be close to him must become developed and educated and strong with the power of knowledge, or they could betray him to those forces who will seek to undermine and to thwart his presence in the world. Great responsibility attends all who will be close to the messenger and all who will receive the revelation. For you receive this not only for yourself, but also to allow the revelation to move through you to others. It must be shared person to person. This gives it its greatest efficacy. And for this to maintain the clarity and integrity of the new message, the purity of the message must be given and recorded. Otherwise, its meaning and value will be lost in translation. This is part of the burden of the messenger. Think of these things, consider these things, and consider your responsibilities in responding to the revelation and in considering the fact that you are living at the time of the messenger. Think of these things seriously now. It is of great importance to your life and to the future and well-being of the human family. Let us now spend a few moments together to be with Marshall and send him our love and strength. Now see if there are others in the world or in your life who need to receive this strength as well. If so, spend a moment sending strength or another quality to these individuals. Nasina Varakaram. Thank you all for